Hello and welcome to my channel. Today we're gonna talk about Poorman's Cremation build that I use to clear ravaged maps, and I will explain you the next upgrade you need to run all the mods and corrupted maps, right? Because this seems profitable, so I'm just testing that. My first session wasn't like super lucky. I dropped like 10k loot in 10 maps, which is kinda nice. This is mostly because the oils are quite expensive. If you check, the tainted oil is here it says 100C, but golden is 90, 48, 15. Those are not correct prices, actually. I set this manually, but you can check that in game, right? So, where I have it. Right, so tainted oil is like 2 divs each. Golden oil is now half a div, maybe 4 chaos. Yeah, that's half a div. Yep, silver oil is 60, 65C. So this is basically driving the profits. So it's very expensive to run the strategy, right? And I use Crimson Temples, which is additional like 30C to the map. But you can clear this and loot in 65 minutes per 10 maps, and that's roughly 10,000 chaos worth loot. And that's roughly 27 divines per hour. If you take as granted that the magic find is like 20-30 divs, maybe it's not that bad. So many people were afraid, does blighted maps work, etc. I think it still works. I use double golden here, and that produces a lot of tainted oils which drive the profit. You have more chances to drop the Valdos puzzle. I dropped one in the 10 maps, right? So it's definitely increasing your chances to do that. It's definitely increasing chances to drop divine orbs. The stack decks are 3C each, close to, right? So when you check the price on TFT, it's like I think 70 stack decks per 1 divine, and 1 divine is 215. That means it's around 3 chaos each. So I set some custom prices in my Exilence Next because the POE stack is, well, having a strange pricing. You can see like it says like this is 2.2. I don't know where they did get that price from, but that I think that gets your numbers wrong. So all the YouTubers, I think like Snobby, he's using POE stack. I think their pricing is also wrong. So my numbers will be usually lower than theirs just because we use different tools, different pricing. And yeah, I'm trying to tune my Exilence Next so it's close to the truth, close to what you are really selling the oils and buying the oils for, and the currency, like for instance chisels, right? Because I now listed this for 1C, so only desperate people gonna buy this from me, but this is close to 0.8, 0.7 each, right? So I'm gonna set some custom prices for my top items, but to the point, right? So this is the strategy. I think it's worth it. If you wanna run this and you have Cremation or DD, then if you have DD, check this video. Then it explains what you need to do to swap to Cremation. Then in next videos you have POBs and explanation of next steps. And now we will talk about the previous version. So this is it. It's very simple and cheap. This is around 30 divines because I use Aurea's and here, but it's basically the build from this swap with some extra stuff like higher gems, etc. So it's all 2020, etc. The first version is not. It's like just your first version. It's day 5 of the league, day 6 of the league. So you shouldn't be running Ravaged with that version. Maybe you can run this with this version, and if you want to run corrupted maps like me, then maybe you need to enhance it with this version, which is way more expensive. So add 50 more divines, which is like, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 hours of running ravaged maps with the previous version. If you cannot afford, just run crimson, 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 black, 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 teal, 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 corrupted. If you cannot do certain mods, just use Twist of Fate, which is here, right? So you can allocate this node. It will change your map, and if you have mod that you cannot run, it will be rerolled to something else. It can still be a bad mod for you, but basically Cremation is quite resistant to many mods, so that's unlikely that you will get a bad mod from there. And even if you fail, you run like crimsons and blacks, it's not a big loss. It's like 60 C, right? So this strat is around 10 divines an hour. If you run this for 5 hours, you can then afford a better build that can do like 20, 27 or whatever it will be after I finish this test strat, right? And then you can make a lot of money, maybe try Magic Find or whatever. So this is what it is. And today we're gonna talk about what's needed to run all the mods, what's nice to have when running corrupted maps. And I've done a few changes to the tree, so let's start with that. So the first big change is that I unallocate, if you see this tree, I allocated in here. I was going top here. I was using the strength node. I had additional strength because I was missing it here. So a lot of redundancy in my tree, right? So the new tree is fixed, right? So we use Thread of Hope. We allocate all the important points that are really crucial for our DPS and effective HP. Then I don't have those points anymore. I'm going down here instead of top because that saves me 1 point, I believe. And I get this node that's irrelevant. And this node is also irrelevant, but I'm saving that for level 97. Then I will figure out whether it's better to take those nodes or, you know, get some more tech, like, I don't know, cluster, medium cluster jewel here or something. So I'll figure this out next, but that's irrelevant for the task, which is running ravaged maps with all mods. So then you take those nodes for defenses. It gives you also 8 point max res, not max res, all res, sorry. And you can spend some spare points in aura effect here, or like me, just widespread destruction, or getting some masteries, like 10% of physical damage from hits taken as chaos damage. So that's basically how your tree should look like. Those are, everything else is the same with the previous tree. Then I actually swapped my caster wheel from here to here. I use a different node now. It's basically similar. I get cast speed because we are having elemental overload, so the crit was useless. So this has a bit more cast speed, so I think that's better. That was my mistake. So it is like this now. I think it's pretty optimal. So the minimum level you need to have this tree and run corrupted maps. So you don't need this, and you don't need this, and potentially this. So I think it's like 92, level 92. So that's the tree for level 92. That should be fully doable. All the stuff that I just unclicked is extra, right? So feel free to level up and allocate them later. And then on level 97 you get this one for more defenses, or just try to unlock this and figure out some medium cluster jewel. So that's the tree. Let's move on to the items. So the items. So I had to do a few things, right? So first of all, craft +2 scepter. I will link in the description how to craft it. The cost is at least 15 divines. I would say have 25 before you even start doing that. Let me just sell this one. I don't know what's that, but I like 2 divines. And I think it's really worth to have like 25 divines, because then you will have to unveil some stuff. It can go wrong. You will need to start over. And that would be a really bad thing if you run out of currency while crafting this scepter. It's not worth it, right? So first get like 25 divines, so you are sure you will be able to finish your job. Then what we need is ashes. It's 2.2. It's 4. Okay, let's say it's 4, because I like to have like 27 at least, maybe 26. That would be a bit low, but yeah, try to get as close as to 30, but don't overspend for this. It's fine to buy like 3-4 divines ashes, the best you can get. We don't need anything else, just quality, right? Experience is not utilized by us. So what else? Because that's another mechanic. So I had to use, I want to use on hit curse ring. You just roll decks with alts, then you craft non-channeling skills have cost 2 mana. And why is that? Is because we want to use our inspiration, because if we get +2 scepter and +1 amulet and stuff, then your bone offering will be really, you know, high in mana, high cost in mana, and we really cannot go down that much. So without inspiration it's 46, I have 35. Yeah, in previous leagues we didn't have to do that to use inspiration. We had one more slot for triggered spell, but now the Ashes is Ashes has lost mana reservation, so that's gone. We need to allocate charisma, we need to have all the mana reservation like leadership and sovereignty allocated, and then on top of that you need inspiration here, inspiration there. Unearth is 0, which means you can just keep this pressed, it will cast pretty fast. And with inspiration it's only 20 and punishment is 18, which means at 35 mana you can cast it. The only node we use for reduced mana skill is this mana mastery, and that's pretty cool, right? So if you take this ring, then you will then maybe you need to swap this ring as well, because Thread of Hope gives you additional mine negative elemental resistances. So possibly when you have like your previous version and you put in Thread of Hope, then you will need to play with your rares. But what you can do, if you don't want to swap your ring, if you don't want to swap your belt or alter your boots, what you can do is you can use this charm. So let's talk about charms now. Charms I use: regenerate energy shield per second, gain maximum energy shield as percentage of your maximum mana, and cannot take reflected elemental damage, right? And of course corpses and cover enemies in ashes. I'm not so sure if the cover enemies in ashes in ash is working. I think it is, but I will have to maybe pay more attention to validate that. If not, I'm losing like 20% or 17% maximum corpse health. So I would just basically use this over this if my resistances weren't kept. So when we use ashes, we have 85% max res with +1 on gloves with this version. You can easily get that to +2, which will be 86. I don't play any content yet. I will maybe try some simulacrum or stuff. Maybe there I need more, but for Ravaged maps 85 is more than enough, so don't bother. But that's basically what it is. And yeah, the goal is Unearth level 91, and to do that you will also need to buy Empower level 4, which is 5 divines. And it's nice to have Enhanced level 4, which is 7 divines. It was cheaper, but it is what it is. So basically those are all the texts that you need to do. I have this ally reflect here, so I don't worry about ally reflect. And the monster speed cannot be reduced under base value, monsters cannot be stunned, monsters avoid elemental ailments, blah blah blah. This is all irrelevant because you have enough DPS to just kill bosses. You can build glacial cages and you can build like towers to help you with damage. You can weak your enemies with towers, and that's really simple, right? And this version cannot do 8 mod towerless because Cremation was nerfed by 66%. In previous leagues that would do, in this league it won't. There are still plenty of room for improvements without like original sin, but let's talk about this in a second. I can get like double corrupt on shield, double corrupt on armor, double corrupt on crown, double corrupt on amulet, right? That's super expensive, right? But this league is producing so much currency. If you have like 27 divines per hour, you can spend like 100 on upgrades. That's not bad, right? So I think this is it. For cannot regen mana, you just use mana flask instead of any flask. I keep Oriat's End and Dying Sun here. Then you can. I have this craft to reduce mana cost of skills, but I don't think it's really. I think it's not really working, so it's irrelevant. Here you can get some nice increased effect flask. With this one, I don't bother because we have so much effective HP. This flask can be shit for ravaged maps. So it's important to have increased effect on Quicksilver flask, increased effect on your Sulfur flask, and yeah, I think cast speed is pretty fine. Not sure what else you could have here. And with Pantheon, we are having the avoid projectiles, right, and the burning ground and ignite. So this is all we have. I don't even have quality on my belt. I don't have quality on my rings. That doesn't give us much. And I'm clearing ravage maps pretty comfortable, right? So again, that is expensive. Scepter, I'd say 20 divines. And those two gems, like 12 divines, ashes 4 divines. Getting better gems, right? Like Cremation level 21, it's 3 divines. So I'd say have like 50 divines more and then run corrupted maps and then have 50 more to run double golden oil, right? Because if you run double golden oil, that's roughly 17 divines to run 10 maps. So if you don't have like 40-50 divines in your stash to buy oils, then you won't be able to play this a lot. Maybe then play a cheaper strat. Maybe try to craft some stuff or sell your inventory with, try to find where your money are, get some money, then start. Then it should be easy. So I hope this video is helpful. I will record full session of me running corrupted maps, corrupted Crimson Temple maps with this build, so we will be able to see how it does, and you will find every important information in the description, so make sure you check out this. And if not, just come by to the Discord, ask some questions. There are plenty of people to answer you, and I hope this video was helpful to you, and see you soon. Cheers, bye.